Hey everybody, welcome to House Hacks. I wanted to take a moment to do something we haven't done yet and kind of spend some time exploring some products. And recently in a project that we've been working on with the irrigation, we use what's called deck mud, which is a bit of a new product to me as far as the terminology. And I want to kind of show you all how it's different from what we traditionally regard as mortar mix. So let's take a look. So in these two containers, we have a mortar mix, which is this one right here. And then we have deck mud. Mortar mix is essentially going to be Portland cement, sand, and some lye. And the deck mud, as far as I understand it, is similar in that it has Portland cement as well. I believe it does not contain lye. And what I think is actually really fascinating, if you take a look in your hand, is instead of using sand, it uses sort of like decomposed rocks or crushed rocks. And back in the day, before I was aware of the terminology deck mud, we kind of just would create our own deck mud when we wanted something that had a little more substance in mortar by finding smaller rocks or crushed rocks or pebbles on a construction site. And so now I think they sort of have this pre-mix, ready-to-go product called deck mud. And mortar mix, kind of as for those of you who have used in the past, is going to be a little lighter. It's powdery, dusty, whereas the deck mud does not have those properties. The mortar mix is kind of sticky too, and maybe that's somehow the property of the lye, and so therefore that's why it's used when you're building a brick wall. It kind of has that adhesive quality to stick the bricks together, or if you're tiling a bathroom on a vertical surface, it has that sticky adhesive quality. Whereas the deck mud, which we used on that irrigation project, we just wanted to put it below some hardy plank that's going to be supporting some cinder blocks, it does not have that quality. It's just used sort of as an underlayment where you don't need something really as heavy duty or strong as concrete, but you just kind of do want to get a nice masonry product below whatever you're putting on top of it to give it some stability. So what I want to show you as well is the dry pour technique, which we use in the irrigation project as well. And since we have these clear containers, I want to kind of show you how much water you need to add to make sure that your dry pour fully saturates all of the masonry product, whichever one you're using. So let's go check that out. This is our container of the mortar mix, and since a lot of times when you're doing a dry pour, you really don't have the opportunity to see where the water is actually going and how well it's saturating the mortar. So I just kind of wanted to show you, so you can kind of watch in real time, how quickly it takes to saturate the mortar with enough of a consistency to where it will set and cure properly. So if we let that water just sit there a little bit and kind of watch in real time how long it takes for it to actually fully saturate it, it'll kind of help you with an idea as far as on your next project where you might need to do a dry pour, how long it's going to take. You kind of get some bubbling action on the top with the water, which is great to see that. It means it's still saturating the mortar. And then watching also that layer of water to see once it has dissipated and it's fully saturated the mortar. And it's still working a little bit. Still see some bubble action here on that side. And I think we have probably close to the right amount of water. The watching how long it takes to finish off that dry pour. That side's filling up pretty well. Maybe about 75%, maybe a little more than that, saturated. Okay, let's also then next do a dry pour the deck mud, and then in their wet state, I'm going to take them out and compare them at that point as well. So this is our deck mud. You can tell that it is, because of the coarser size of the grains that we see in the crushed rock. So his is going to add a little bit of water to that. And watch the difference in how it saturates the deck mud versus the saturation of the mortar mix. So the bubble action is slower, it's not as pronounced, and it looks like it's saturating it really well. Little bubble action there. So let's go ahead and we'll let that continue saturating. And then I'm going to show you when you're actually working with the wet product how it's different when you're actually holding it in your hand. So this is the mortar mix over here. If I go ahead and I scoop that out, you can see the consistency of it, the stickiness, the pliability, how you can move that around and work it on a project. And then in this hand, as I'm grabbing in to pick up the deck mud, it's much coarser. Definitely feel the edges and the sharpness of some of the crushed rock, and significantly different looking product as far as what you can do with it. Deck mud just kind of, I think it's because it doesn't contain the lye, it falls apart. It doesn't sort of have that integrity to stick to itself, so therefore in a vertical application it would just fall apart, which is why it's really just used horizontally as an underlayment, sometimes sort of almost in what is regarded as a rat slab, where it's down there, it's below there, it's providing a nice flat surface, but you don't see it. It doesn't have that structural integrity. Whereas mortar really has that stickiness, that adhesive quality, to where if you're installing tiles on a bathroom wall on a vertical surface against some cement board, it can really stay there. It's sticky, it's adhesive, and it'll do a really good job of bonding those tiles to the cement board like that. So whatever your next project is, maybe check out some deck mud and it'll work out for you. Or if you need to use mortar mix, then now you can see kind of what the fun differences are between the two. Have fun on your next project.